waste of time in your view?
No, I don't think they are, actually, to be honest. You've got really two major events of world leaders. You've got the G7, which is kind of politically biased and trying to drive on political platforms many of the initiatives that globally everybody needs to contribute to. And then you've got the G20, which is bringing in all the other countries to look at the more sort of financial and economic implications on the world stage, and in terms of certainly how various countries can support each other, monies can be donated or certainly pushed towards emerging countries, places which require financial support and development. So I think there's an awful lot. Now, although no laws or major initiatives are necessarily agreed in a legal framework at a G7 meeting, I think the key thing is getting everybody together and getting all the world leaders together, albeit for a short period of time, gives them a chance to be able to bounce ideas. And that's fundamentally what they use it for, to throw ideas around and hopefully come out with some universal agreements. They don't always work, but they can be very useful.
I'm trying to think of something that it's brought about that has been a good thing. So,
well, the malaria inoculations and certainly the battling against malaria on a global level, particularly in emerging countries, they were very successful on that. The COVID was a bit of a misfire on the vaccines.
Because they're supposed to give out all those vaccines, they didn't.
Absolutely. They also, as a group, pushed forward for multinational companies to pay more contributions to tax as well.
What happened? Did anything come from
No, something did come with that. And actually they did push through to countries, and particularly to these companies, that the chance is that they can't just evade it by using various different offshore havens to transfer tax, and particularly things like corporation tax. They wanted to make sure that within the jurisdictions of their operations, they would be liable for more, which is very important because, I mean, it's always a topical subject, isn't it, Nana?
Well, what about online stuff then, online safety and things? Because you always hear the thing, oh, well, we can't because it's Facebook and they're not based here, and da-da-da-da, so they sort of negate responsibility of the behaviours of these companies because they're not based in the UK.
Yeah, but they still have to file their accounts somewhere.
Yes.
So even though it may be a virtual business of sorts and it's just a bunch of propeller heads pushing buttons and tapping keys away to obviously keep their large business operating, they will have to file their accounts somewhere. And it's preventing, and I think a lot of the G7 are in agreement, that some of these companies are highly profitable, so they can't get away. But from my perspective, being a security guy, I'm not an economist, as you can probably tell, from a security perspective, really important because it actually builds on the Five Eyes partnership, which is obviously Australia, New Zealand, Canada, United States and the UK.
But it's New Zealand. I don't think they're in it. Are they, New Zealand?
No, they're not in G7, but they are in the Five Eyes partnership, which is the intelligence sharing.
Do you think there's too many of these things? The Five Eyes, the G7, the G20, the COP26, the this, the that. I mean, NATO, UN. Look, this feels a bit like lots of different mashed up groups.
Oh, it is. But each of those groups have their own particular functions. So G7, all of those members are members of NATO. So at the moment, again, as your previous guest was saying, Ukraine is very much top of the agenda. We are edging ever so close into a World War III, if we're not already in it.
We're in it,
and some people would say that we are.
We are, aren't we?
But we are looking at a asymmetric warfare. It's something that we've never experienced before, because this isn't a conventional war. This is a war that's virtual, it's online, it's cyber, it's energy,
nuclear
it's economy,
as well.
and it's potentially nuclear. So it's big. There are lots of factors at play here.